here in New Orleans, we take our Geek so seriously that there's even a radio show dedicated to it. This is Bryan Held. He's the co-host of WGSO's The Week in Geek. I apologize for their show yesterday if you happen to hear it. They didn't mean to bring me on. I just showed up and crashed the party. So as we're shining a spotlight on all things geek this weekend in New Orleans, why don't you tell us a little bit about the radio show, what kind of things you guys have done, what sort of future guests you might be looking for, things like that.
Well, The Week in Geek just tries to cover everything from the geek world, you know, the geek genre. And so we try to get a little bit of everything. We do a regular video game review. We recently brought on one of the local game shops to do some game reviews, so that's great. Very exciting.
Which of the shops are you working with?
Go for Games. They're going to be they're sponsoring the show. They're advertising with us now, so we're really excited about that. We try to get guests, authors, actors, actresses, just different folks related to the geek world to bring them in and give some entertainment to our listeners.
What are some of your favorite guests and topics you've had so far?
Well, we had Michael Rooker on recently. That was a fantastic guest. He was super chatty, wanted to talk about different things that he was working on, and so that was really, really great. The best one of my absolute favorites, was for the 10th anniversary of the Curiosity rover mission. We had a NASA scientist come on and talk to us.
That's fantastic.
Oh, it was great. So we've had a lot of the local fan groups come on and talk about all the cool things that they do, and especially the charity aspects. The LA Ghostbusters are always a favorite of ours, and they're actually raffling off a pack that's signed by Dan Aykroyd right now. So that's really cool. Future guests. You asked me about future guests. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited. On May 22nd, we have Jim Butcher, of the author for the Dresden Files.
Very nice.
Coming on the show. We also have Lee Martindale. She's editor, author of the Harphaven Tales. She's going to be coming on, I believe, on the 20th. So a lot of cool stuff coming up, and yeah.
So locals out there who want to tune in and listen to it old school over the airwaves, where and when?
All right, WGSO 990 AM every Thursday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're on the drive time. But if you do miss it, you can't catch it, we're immediately loaded up on the net on WGSO's website. That's WGSO.com. And we have the podcast there, so you can listen to it whenever you want.
Outstanding. Well, thanks a lot for taking a couple of minutes to talk to us, Bryan. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Welcome to New Orleans. It's carnival time.
We are the intergalactic crew of Chewbacchus, saving the galaxy one drunken bird at a time. I'm here.
And here we go. DIY meets Comic-Con meets 3D printing. 0.3D out of Florida. We're here with Justin Cooper, one of a pair of equally matched Justins who started up this human cloning 3D project. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do.
That's a great question. When everybody builds their cosplay costumes, they put a lot of DIY effort into it. And we thought, why can't they bring an action figure of themselves home?
And there we go.
So this is my cosplayer, Jack. And we scanned him in our 3D photo booth. And what we do is we take millions of pictures and millions of data points, and we combine this all together into a 3D model. And it's a model that they can share with their friends on their website at 0.3D.com, and they can even share it on Facebook at facebook.com/0.3D. And once we have an action figure digitized, we can use a 3D printer and print out a real action figure they can share with a friend, send it to family, send it to aunt and uncle. And it's really a great way to capture their creativity and capture their hard work.
This sounds fantastic. Why don't we take advantage of our lovely volunteer here and demonstrate to people a little bit about how this works?
Excellent.
So let's do a human scan, shall we?
Fantastic. Let me show you how it's done.
All right.
This is our 3D photo booth, and we have our wonderful demonstrator, and she's going to show us how a 3D scan is produced. We start off by setting the record, and we start scanning her with the camera. And what we have is thousands of data points that are coming together and merging into a digital clay. So as we rotate our lovely assistant on the turntable, we are starting to form a full 3D model of her. So when you come around this time, just keep your eyes open, hold your face. All right, that looks great. And we're done. Well, cool. So if you'd like, you can step right over here and we can show your figure. So it starts off here without any color. And then our next step is we have to add the color back into the 3D figure. So what we've done is we've taken two types of pictures. One of them is a depth image that takes all these measurements, and the other ones are color images. And then this process has wrapped all those color images back together and created a full 3D figure.
Far from a simple wireframe, that's for sure. So once we've got all of the data imprinted into our system, what's the next step? Where do we go?
So now that we have all the data, we have a digital artist go through and sculpt and recorrect and change and adjust all the colors, kind of like Photoshop for 3D. And once we have all that information set and the model approved, we take it to a 3D printer. Let me show you a demonstration of our 3D printer. This is a 3D printer that we bring with us to cons to demonstrate the amazing technology. Our 3D printer, all these parts, these green parts and pieces, were printed on another 3D printer.
Outstanding. Almost a von Neumann machine here.
Exactly. We've got self-replicating robots. Now that we have a 3D printer, the way this one works is it's a fused deposition machine. So it takes this wire, this plastic wire, it's actually a bioplastic made out of corn. So it's a renewable plastic, and it heats it up to about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Think of it like a robotic hot glue gun. So a robotic hot glue gun starts squirting out this molten plastic in this pattern. And layer by layer, over time, it starts to build up a full 3D object.
And I'm guessing from the silhouette of the base I see there that you are printing. Oh, yes. This is what they're printing. Fancy that. We haven't seen any Daleks or Doctor Who stuff all weekend, now have we?
Now don't tell the doctor that we're doing this. We might get in some trouble.
But you can also see down inside where it's basically hollow and it's built up around the edges. But yeah, it looks like really good resolution on the printer. Wonderful stuff. So how long have you guys been around?
We've been doing this for about 6 months now. All the technologies have come together where we can, a lot of this technology is open source and DIY. So we've been able to put these parts and pieces together, build a lot of our custom software, and marry these technologies and make them work. So it's only because of the open source and the DIY movement that we've been able to bring this technology into cons and into the hands of everybody.
So I might have guessed you're probably putting a lot of wireframes out there under Creative Commons?
There are. We've been a big part of the open source community. So a lot of these hardware items that we've engineered, that we've put out, are open on websites like Thingiverse and open public forums so that everyone can download and share our designs.
Outstanding. Thanks for taking a few minutes to talk to us, and thanks for bringing a little future style DIY to the New Orleans Comic Con.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, not at all, not at all. Try not to get in too much trouble before you go back to Florida.
Will do.